Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over lesson 11.2, which is triangles. Similar to the last lesson with polygons, it's a lot about memorization, just being able to look at a triangle and be able to identify it based off its appearance. The things you need to look at are the angles, are right here, angles and the sides. Those are the two things that tell you about it. So the EQ. Keep in mind, how can you classify triangles? I'm not going to go into the unlock the problem because I think that you guys are pretty comfortable with it. It's just review, just need to make sure that we kind of refresh our minds on it. So the three different ways that we can classify a triangle based off its sides are the equilateral triangle, isosceles, and the scalene. Do this. This thing keeps popping up. Here, let me refresh. Sorry about that. There we go. Okay. So, if all the sides are the same, as you can see here, we got 3 inches, 3 inches, 3 inches. Even if the dimensions weren't there, if it just had those tick marks, you would know that they're the same. But this is telling you, well, all the sides are the same, and all the angles are the same, which makes this an equilateral triangle. Has blank congruent sides. Well, that would be all congruent sides, or 3 congruent sides. Isosceles, you know that based off this one here, there's 2 tick marks. They're both 3 inches, and since 2 of them are the same and one's different, that makes it an isosceles. So an isosceles has 2 congruent sides. And then if we look at the last one, scalene. Scalene, all are different. We got this one, which is 3 inches, 4 inches, and 5 inches. So a scalene triangle has 0 congruent sides. Okay? But then we got to also look at the angles, because you can have an isosceles triangle and have particular angles. So let's take a look at this one. We have a right triangle, has one 90-degree or right angle. So that little square tells us that it's a right angle, and a right angle is 90 degrees. An acute triangle has 3 blank angles. Well, let's look at the angles. We have this one that's 30 degrees, this one that's 75 degrees, and this one that's 75 degrees. Well, what kind of angle do these all have in common? And I'll let you think about that for a second. And, well, yeah, they are acute. Okay, acute means that they are less than 90 degrees. Less than 90, less than 90, less than 90. And then if we look down here, we have an obtuse triangle, and it has one obtuse angle. Which one's the obtuse angle? Well, if you said this one, then you're correct, 130. What makes it obtuse? Well, the fact that it is greater than 90. If we look over at this one, it's a right angle, straight up and to the side right here, that perpendicular. Okay, that makes it 90 degrees. This one, it's kind of stretched out even more, which makes it obtuse, 130 degrees. So it'll only have one obtuse angle. It can't have more than one obtuse angle. We talked about that in class, that if it had 2 obtuse angles, well, it wouldn't be able to connect. We would have to draw a 4th line segment, and that wouldn't make it a triangle anymore. That would make it a polygon. Okay, and if we look over on the next side, that's the activity, but let's look right here. Triangle by length of sides and triangle by angle measure. So if it is an acute and scalene, we would need to draw it in. So for right now, what you could do is get a piece of scratch paper, and I want you to draw it just like how it is right here on the screen. Okay, I want 4 quadrants right here. Okay, and then scalene at the top, isosceles, obtuse, and acute. Okay, go ahead and pause the video if you need to get paper and a pencil, and draw out this really quick, and try to draw 4 triangles in each of these. it has to be scalene and acute for this one, scalene and obtuse, isosceles and acute for this one, and then isosceles and obtuse. I'm not sure if you heard that last part, but like I was saying, scalene and acute, well, if it's a scalene, that means all sides are different. So this one looks like it's the longest, then this one and this one. But for this drawing, you can't really tell. It's kind of hard to tell. So a couple things you could do are label it. You could say that this is 6 centimeters, this one's 5 centimeters, and this one's 4. Or you could do 3 tick marks on here, then 2 on this one, then 1 on that one. That would show that all these sides are different. And it's acute. You could see that all of these angles are less than 90 degrees, making it a scalene acute triangle. If we look over here at this one has to be acute as well, meaning all angles are less than 90 degrees. And it's an isosceles, meaning that 2 sides are the same. So a way that you can show that 2 sides are the same are drawing 2 tick marks on them or 1 tick mark on them. Meaning if I say that these 2 are the same, I would draw a tick mark there and a tick mark there, showing that they're the same. And to show that this one's different, I could leave it blank, or I could show that this one has 2 tick marks. If you put 1 and 1 there, you would put 2 there to show that it's different, or leave it blank. So scalene acute, and then isosceles acute. Then if we go down to this last one, or these bottom ones, we have a scalene obtuse, meaning that scalene, all sides are different. You could put 3 tick marks, 2 tick marks, then 1, and obtuse, meaning that one angle is going to be greater than 90 degrees. And you would show that by doing a partial circle instead of the little square. Okay, so 1 obtuse, all sides are different, that makes it an obtuse scalene triangle. Then if we look over here, we now have an obtuse isosceles triangle. Okay, so obtuse meaning one angle bigger, and then isosceles, well, you can see that these 2 are pretty close to the same length, so we would put a tick mark there and a tick mark there, and we can leave that one blank or put 2 tick marks on there to show that it is different than those 2. Okay, that was pretty much it for this lesson. If you got down that, okay, if all sides are the same, all angles are the same, it must be an equilateral triangle. And if they're all the same, it would be an acute equilateral too. So let's take a look at a couple of these problems. It's saying classify each triangle, right? Isosceles, scalene, or equilateral. Okay, that is based off of what? The sides or the angles? And if you said sides, you're correct. And then acute, obtuse, right, that is based off the angles. Okay, so let's look at this one. This one, it's already labeled for you. This is on the teacher's edition. But this one would be scalene because that's 14, 12, and 11. All sides are different, making it a scalene. And the degrees are already there on the angles, 75, 54, and 51. All of them are less than 90, making it an acute. Okay, and number 2, that one's an easy one. All sides are the same. All angles are the same. You can see that by the markings. Equilateral, and all angles are less than 90, making it acute. And for the most part, I think that everybody understood this lesson pretty well, if my memory serves me correctly. I don't remember many people having trouble. It was just making sure that you were classifying it correctly. Everybody was like, okay, that's an isosceles because of those 2, but then some of them were leaving this blank. But you got to make sure you classify it using both the sides and the angles. That's very important. I do remember that this was kind of a tricky part, but if you just drew it out, I remember telling you guys to show your work in the little empty spaces. If the sides are 3.5, 6.2, and 3.5, well, those 2 are the same. So that must mean it's an isosceles. And the angles, well, there's one that's bigger than 90 degrees. So that must make it an obtuse, an isosceles, obtuse. And you could draw that. You could physically draw that one. This one right here, number 5, 2 inches, 5 inches, and 3.8. Well, all of those are different, making it which makes it a scalene. And the angles, well, one of them's bigger than 90, making it a scalene obtuse. Okay? So if you have your Go Math packet, that would be great to just look over it again, refresh your memory. If you don't, then just practice the assigned stuff on Think Central. If you have questions, post them in the video, at the comments at the bottom of the video. One other thing I want to make sure everybody is doing is if you have questions, you can message me those. Everybody's been messaging me questions down here. But if you have questions, chances are other people have those same questions. So post them right here. That's why I put this in bold and underlined it. Okay, post them here. Put it right there. So click reply, ask your question, and I'll answer it. Okay. One of these days, I'm going to set up a video chat meeting. Let me see. I'm going to schedule a meeting. So if people want to comment a better time, if they want to do it in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening, let me know the best time for you guys. You can post that down here in the conversation or reply right here. But if I don't hear anything, then I'm just going to schedule one. And if you can make it, great. If you can't, that's fine. It's just mostly to connect with you guys, say hi. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been messaging each other already, keeping in contact. But I think it'd be fun to meet as a class and, you know, have a conversation with each other. As far as the rest of this lesson for 11.2, another activity that you can do, like we did in class, would be to post different pictures of the triangles. And you can find those anywhere. If you guys all have your laptops now. If you haven't received a laptop, I'm not sure if they're still scheduling dates. I saw most of you pick up a laptop, but there might be a few that weren't able to. But you could even search it on your phone. So one thing you could do is search up blank triangle templates maybe, and let's see what comes up. Okay, and let's see, these are all the same triangles, so we would say blank, let's see, maybe different. I'll look for one. If I can't find it, I'll post it in the description, a link to it in the description. But let's say that all these were blank, and all these were different shapes. You would cut it up and post them around the room, like I said, and make a chart. And then you would classify them, draw them, and show how you would classify them. Meaning, oh, you would draw the tick marks on them, or you would label them like this one, 4 centimeters, 3, and 6. So that would make this one a scalene, and it would be an obtuse scalene. Okay. So if you have questions on other ways that you can study, message me, put them in the comments on Teams, or post it in the comments below the video. That kind of takes care of this lesson. Later on, I'll post another video for 11.3. 11.3 is quadrilaterals. Okay, so the next video we'll talk about that. Okay, so I'll see you guys then.